Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 17th of May. It is Saturday. We do have a 5-game early slate and an 8-game main slate this evening. This is a first look video. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, I would cut my pools in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. Don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. With all that said and done, let's go over to the weather station. I'm not sure if it's been updated for today yet, but we'll see. It does look like it. Appears we have basically zero weather to worry about. We do have some offensive environments. Unfortunately, that Cincinnati-Cleveland game isn't on either of the early or the main slates, but that wind blowing out in Cincinnati at that ballpark, very intriguing. If it would have been 80 degrees, it should be a launching pad. Chicago game, we have it listed as blowing across the field. I'm going to have to check some updates just because the game total in that one's sitting at 10 with juice on the over. So I have a feeling it's going to end up shifting to out at some point. But, as you see, just no weather to worry about at all, which is always great to see for when we are building, hundreds of lineups. If you're an MMEer, you don't really want to have to worry about trying to figure that out. With that said, let's take a look quick at this early 5-gamer. Pretty straightforward, and by straightforward, I mean it's not overly exciting from a pitching standpoint. Matthew Boyd and the Cubs are the largest favorites at minus 290. Again, the issue is game total of 10, juices on the over. How much do we want to rely on Matthew Boyd? I think we're going to have to play him. K-prop of 5.5, juices on the over, which is the number one K-prop of the guys I wrote down. He's plus 100 to earn the W, which again is the best on this slate. So he just lines up to be the best pitcher, obviously against the weakest offense on the slate. But again, when potentially blowing out, do we want to rely on that? I think we have to play him. If this was a larger slate, I could probably find ways to get off of Boyd based on the weather. But again, we're going there. Shouldn't have any regrets there. Reese Olson, second from the top. Think we're going to have to play him. I haven't been taking pitching against Toronto, only because they're not a huge strikeout squad. But Olson has been pretty steady. A couple of rough starts recently. But aside from that, dominated a tough San Diego offense. He's a minus 142 favorite. 4.5 K-prop with juice on the over. Didn't have any win odds posted yet because DraftKings was looking to confirm the starting pitcher for Toronto yet. I would expect his win odds to be somewhere similar to Drew Rasmussen's plus 155. But because of the slate, Olsen's certainly in play for me. I'm just not going to... I should consider Clark Schmidt. After Rodon did a pretty good job against the Mets yesterday. Mets just don't strike out all that much. They do have a dangerous offense. In New York, Schmidt can give up some home runs. Right now, I'm considering just leaving Schmidt out of my pool. Alcantara, going to make my pool, but it feels really gross. He seems to just hit these random walls, and it's probably just going to be happening with him returning from Tommy John. I think the first couple innings against this White Sox start, he looked absolutely dominant. Ks were there, etc. Then he kind of fell apart with some walks, a home run. I think it's just going to take some time. I almost feel like the Marlins should limit him to 5 innings every start until he builds up some stamina, but it is what it is. His K-prop is 4.5 juices on the over, tied with Olsen. He's plus 220 to earn the W. Tampa Bay is a minus 155 favorite, but given this slate, I'm just willing to take a shot with somebody like Alcantara against Tampa Bay. Drew Rasmussen, probably my second favorite pitcher on the slate. It doesn't feel great because he hasn't been in double digits in any of his last 4 starts. Strikeouts haven't really been there. Home runs have been, etc. Like, there's just things that don't look great. But obviously 3 of those 4 starts came at home, which has been a rough park from a home run standpoint for Tampa Bay. Obviously, it's a minor league park. You're going to have that in one dominant road start, not really from a fantasy point perspective, from an actual pitching perspective. Struggle a bit on the road against the Diamondbacks. He is in play. K-prop of 5.5, juices on the under, so the second best K-prop. Plus 155 to earn the W. Tampa Bay is minus 155. So, I mean, he's just going to be in play for me. Canning has been phenomenal. I think I'm going to get away from him here against the Yankees. It could hurt me because I have a feeling he's going to carry some ownership. But as of right now, I am planning on fading Griffin Canning. Those are kind of the only pitchers that are really in consideration for me on this 5-gamer. Let's jump over to the 8-game main slate this evening and get a look at some of the options. This one I'll try to go game by game here. Molly and Blanco. $1,800 price difference. Kind of substantial considering Molly and the Rangers are just minus 122 favorites. But Blanco is the favorite out of the 2 to earn the W at plus 170, while Molly is plus 180. Blanco's K-prop 5.5, juice on the under. Molly's K-prop 4.5, juice on the under as well. Now, I don't really love the idea of chasing Blanco's last start where he was absolutely dominant against the Reds. He did get an extra day of rest, which is always beneficial. But 11 strikeouts, 8 innings, just kind of seems like that could easily be his best start of the entire season. The Texas offense has shown some spark recently, but they also then have struggled even during this time. So I think we have to consider and probably have to use Blanco. I just don't want to have to go super heavy. We won't have ownership projections for that slate for a while, so I'm just not sure what the field's going to be planning on doing. Tyler Mahle, obviously mentioned his K-prop at 4.5, juices on the under. Not a huge K guy. As you can see, he does have 6 and 5 in 2 out of his last 3, but then 0 and 1 in 2 out of his last 4 starts as well. But just limiting runs. Some metrics that obviously are going to point to that being somewhat lucky, but it doesn't mean that's all going to even out in just one start. So I think we are going there. Obviously, not really sure. I want to think that he was a reverse splits type guy. If he is, that might downgrade him a little bit since Houston is so right-hand heavy. But for now, he is definitely going to be in my pool. Noah Cameron, a guy that we used to some very strong success against Tampa Bay during that stretch when we were getting left-handed pitchers against Tampa Bay for a number of days in a row. Walks were his big issue. Walks were the reason he didn't put up 25 to 28 fantasy points while getting the W. I'm not sure what he did when he got sent back down. So I'm going to kind of dig into those numbers a little bit to just see some recent form. But Noah Cameron's going to be in play for me. The issue, of course, is that St. Louis not a big K squad. So there is some danger to the matchup, but I do like Cameron a little bit. Problem is he doesn't have props yet, so we're going to have to wait. But Kansas City is a minus 120 favorite in this spot. And generally, Kansas City's ballpark, more pitching focused. And it is blowing in a little bit, not much, but any little bit will help on this particular slate. So Cameron's going to be somebody I'm interested in. Miles Mikolas is somebody I'm basically never interested in. Atlanta, Boston, Grant Holmes, Lucas Giolito, game total 9.5, juices on the under. Giolito making his return from, I believe it was Tommy John and not a shoulder issue, but was great against Kansas City. Pretty surprising. Wasn't horrendous against Toronto in his debut either. Just a couple home runs, couple mistakes, but strikeouts were there. Was bad against Texas. I think he's in play. K-prop of 5.5 juices on the under. He's plus 205 during the W, while Grant Holmes is plus 200, despite Boston being a minus 122 favorite. Game total is 9.5 juices on the under. That's obviously a little high total. Let's be real, the Atlanta offense just really hasn't shown up much of this season so far. I know they've kind of turned their things around, and I think they have a winning record now, but that's not really based on great offensive play. I think the starting staff has really stepped up. I'm going to be on Giolito, even though I don't think he's very good. Aside from that one season where he dominated using spider tack, since then he just hasn't been the guy. On the other side, Grant Holmes, K-prop of 4.5 juices on the over. I don't mind Grant Holmes. I don't use him a ton, but Boston does offer plenty of strikeout upside for Holmes. As we see where Boston has moved to. They started out the season striking out the most. They're sitting third, 13 per game over the last 3 as well. Very, very interesting numbers. They do strike out less at home, but still, I'll take the upside with Grant Holmes. Minnesota, Milwaukee, Pablo Lopez for sure. Coming off of a rougher start against San Francisco, but had been pretty solid prior to that. We're going to go back there here. Game total 7.5 juices on the over in this one. Lopez, K-prop of 5.5 juices on the over, which is tied for second on this slate for the best K-prop. He's roughly plus 115. They only had no odds, but based on looking at that and comparing it to the others, he's going to be around plus 115, plus 120 to earn the W. So he's definitely in play from that standpoint. Tobias Myers might be in play just because the Twins lineup should be weakened without Buxton and Correa. But the Twins have won 12 straight, so I don't really want to go heavy on Myers. Myers could be the last guy in my pool, or he could be the first guy out. Kind of in that spot. Zach Gallen, we're definitely playing. He's pitching at home, and he's pitching against Colorado. Don't really need to say much about the Colorado aspect. This year's home numbers, not as great as previous, but previous years he's been absolutely dominant at home. I'm going to believe in the long-term numbers, and it's Colorado, so we really don't need to question it. He's a minus 375 favorite. His K-prop 7.5 juice on the under. Number one K-prop. He's minus 115 to earn the W. Just everything lines up for Zach Gallen. Seattle, San Diego. I am considering Pivetta. Has not looked good recently. Some runs, home runs, etc. Ks have kind of come down. Walks have been there. I expect a little bit of a bounce back here, and I am going to be utilizing him. San Diego minus 192 favorite. Pivetta is tied with Lopez with a K-prop of 5.5 juices on the over for the second best K-prop, and he's plus 140 to earn the W. He just has a ton of upside, and Seattle does have some strikeouts in that lineup. They do have some dangerous bats, so I could see Pivetta giving up 2 home runs or something and still striking out 8 or 9 and being a GPP winning option for us. The Athletic San Francisco. Obviously, I love pitching in this ballpark. I think I'm only going to be... probably going to have to consider both of them. But I think I'm going to end up only on Severino despite him being an underdog. It's going to be tough. I might end up passing just because maybe they don't have enough upside. But this ballpark is where I love taking pitching. Problem is, Severino plus 185 to earn the W, Route plus 210. Both have K-props of just 4.5. Last game in Los Angeles, I'm going to consider Kershaw. I need to get an idea of what to expect from a pitch count. We know that the Angels strike out a ton, the most in baseball, 11 per game over the last 3. Things just line up for Kershaw to make his return. He's a minus 225 favorite, so... There we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at TFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. Links will be in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, it's R-A-Z, for 10% off. And as always, best of luck, everybody.